It says live, baby. It says we are live, baby. We're live, baby. Hello, baby. Hello, baby. Let's see. Hi. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. And welcome to your Wake and Bake News at 7 p.m. I'm your host, Moxie. And tonight I have many videos prepared for you about the police state that we clearly live in now. I think more than ever, we see the police state just like rallying, and showing its muscle and like trying to be intimidating, and I think it's hilarious. But we'll see how it turns out, I suppose. Because I think the more they show off their dominance, the big the police state is here and we're in charge. The more they show that, the less accessibility, the people have to their so-called representatives, the less accessibility they have to their government. I think it just shows more and more clearly that, that it isn't a government of the people. And that they don't, and that's the way that the politicians want it. The politicians want you, again, the politicians see you as potential enemy combatants. In other words, potential terrorists. And at a time of a war on terror, which, by the way, we are still in the middle of, there is no potential about it. Okay? The politicians see you as terrorists. And you can hear it when they talk about these people. And by the way, these protesters, I'm hearing them say, oh, we protested because Donald Trump told us to. That's just so fucking stupid. I don't know if it's like bullshit that's coming out of the media where, that's what's being reported. Oh, we went there. But I hear it coming out of their lawyers' mouths and shit, Oh, they said that they went there because the president of the United States told them that they had to fight for their country. I mean, look, we went there because we're tired of hell by being misrepresented and misled by criminals who are there to do nothing but make themselves more rich and more powerful. That's why people took back the people's house. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. Donald Trump. I think you guys are just giving this guy way too much credit. That's all I'm saying. Martial law, and apparently today they've been talking about martial law a lot on the news. The guy who has the My Pillow company, right? I forget Mike Vendel or Rendell or something. He who I cannot stand, and I'll tell you why I can't stand him, because he wears a crucifix. And it's not because he wears a crucifix, but it's because he wears a crucifix outside his shirt. So he's selling people stuff, and then he wears his religion on his sleeve, in my opinion, because he knows that it will sell more stuff. And that's what I keep talking about the politicians on the right and the politicians on the left, how they're just talking to different suckers. People want to hear this thing. You can hear some of the callers, they're desperate to say, no, this politician is a good politician, or no, this one is and I understand why. It's not because that guy is good, but it's because it's like why I post Ron Paul videos, or Dennis Kucinich videos, or Tulsi Gabbard videos, or Bernie Sanders videos. It's not because these are the great ones, these are the ones we can trust. It's because they're saying things that are important, that other people aren't saying. And if we can get that discussion, these things that are important that other people aren't talking about, other politicians aren't talking about, if we can get that discussion going, that's an important thing. That's why I post videos from those kind of people. It's not because they're not, they're not the ones that are going to lead us out of this fucking, because Bernie Sanders had a chance to lead us, just like Joe Biden's had a chance to lead us, just like Hillary Clinton's had a chance to lead us, and you know where they led us? They led us right here to this moment in time where the United States of America looks more like a despotic police state than ever. At least that's the way I see it. I'm wondering if you guys see it that way too. Do you guys see a police state that's just growing and out of control? Because I see it. It's right there on the streets in front of us and on every television. It's like, oh, I heard that the DC National Guards that are being prepared, right? They're saying that they're training them and preparing them as if they're being dropped into a war zone. Okay? That's how they're going to deal with Americans, as if they are the enemy. That's how our National Guard, who's supposed to be protecting us, has been called out to protect the criminals in the House of Representatives and in the Senate, because they don't represent anyone or do the people's business at all. That's why the National Guard has to be called out, not to protect the people. It's not there to protect the people, is it? The National Guard is called out in this huge way from across the nation, and it's not about protecting the people. It's about protecting criminals in Washington, D.C. and other capitals around the country. It's disgusting. Don't you think that's disgusting? And they talk about these people, these Capitol Hill police, like a bunch of Capitol Hill police are under investigation now for taking selfies with the protesters and like kind of leading the protesters this way or that way, or kind of letting them through. Again, maybe they saw them as Americans, and it's the people's house. And there isn't any other place where the people should be, especially when the people's house is being told, oh yeah, we're not allowing any visitors right now. And we're finishing off, we're finalizing this election. But we're not allowing any spectators, any visitors, we're doing it in complete, so that none of you can act as if you can hold us accountable. You weren't there, you don't know. Well, you know what, they were there, and they made it real clear that they can and we will hold you accountable unless you start doing the people's business, unless you start hearing the people's voices and acting accordingly. You can count on it. This is not the final protest. What, are you going to keep 40,000 National Guard troops in Washington, D.C. forever now? And why? Again, not to protect the people, to protect criminal lawmakers who are doing evil in the good name of America, in your good name, with your tax dollars. That's why the military is being called out, to protect them, not to protect the American people. Not to protect democracy. Democracy prevails. Okay? You're not going to change this country. They're like, oh, we're going to change it. Oh, they want to change. They're white nationalists and fascists. Fuck you. Okay? What they want is you to do the people's business. And you're not. How many years did you spend on Russia? From the day one of this president, who I despise as much as any politician. From day one of him, they have been saying, oh, we got to get rid of this guy. This is the worst guy ever. And now they're trying to use impeachment as some kind of political punishment to make sure that he never runs for office again, never holds another. They're terrified that he's going to run. I mean, the guy is like 75 years old. Okay, he's only gonna be able to run for office for so much longer. And they're absolutely terrified out of their skin after this horrible experience that he's already had as president, that he'll run again in 2024. And you know why they're terrified? Because he will remind the people again and again and again about the stolen election in 2020. He'll remind them, and he will rally more people to vote than ever before. And the Democrats and the powers that be, it includes the Republicans. You see them voting with the fucking Democrats. Again, there's not two different sides here. You know, there's one side, and their job is to just to take advantage of the people for all they can. And that's clear for anybody who's watching, in my opinion. If anybody wants to call, the numbers there on the screen. It's 805-669-6397. I am getting ready for a bong hit. If anybody would like to take a bong hit with me, I will. I haven't got one loaded up. I haven't got the bong all heated just yet. We'll get there in just a second. But that is definitely what I am looking forward to now. So, never forget. I absolutely agree, Wilco. Never forget. Ooh, orange chicken does sound pretty good. I haven't had an orange chicken for a day. That sounds pretty good. I might have to get the walkout. The walkout. Where are we at? Okay, so I have videos for you. I have, I wanna know if you guys want gardening videos or not. I'm gonna start gardening this weekend. I'm gonna start a new garden this weekend because I think it will be for me cathartic and part of the healing process. And I need weed. So, and I have some amazing genetics. So I just feel stupid not using them, you know. So I'm gonna start a garden this weekend, and I'm just wondering if you guys want to see garden videos or not, because I can do that. I'm not so sure I can do news videos anymore, because I don't wanna. Because every time I post a news video, it's like getting a copyright claim and getting taken down, and basically what that does is it makes it so people come and they try and participate and they make comments on something and they start a conversation with someone, and then in the middle of that conversation the video disappears and they're like, hey, what the fuck? I'm never going to this site again. And that's what YouTube has been trying to do for Mox News for many years, in case you guys don't know it, because we were the source of blog after blog after blog after blog, big time blogs, and YouTube wanted to make us our unreliable source, so they allowed big time blogs to link thousands of links to Mox News videos, and then they took the Mox News videos down because because they were fucking scared as hell of me, and that's the fact, Jack. In case you don't know, I'm a very scary motherfucker. Let's see. Bong hit. Anybody? Bong hit. Bueller. All right. I'm almost ready. And I would love to have a phone caller, if there are any phone callers out there, that feel like they want to communicate about America looking like a police state more than ever. I'd love to talk to you. go! Woohoo! All right. Feeling much better now. All right, so you guys want me to play a video, or you want to do a phone call, or what's on your mind? Huh? What's on? Orange chicken. See what you're doing to me? Orange chicken. Get me all high. Get me all loaded. And then I'm like, orange chicken. Motherfuckers. All right, so it's Dabs for Donations Friday, in case anybody's wondering. You guys, here's how it works. You guys give a donation, and then I do a dab in your honor. Isn't that awesome? I get high. I get high for you, or you can get high with me. It's so much fun. There's clickable links in the text body of this video, or you can go to moxnews.com, or there are links right now in the chat. And there have been no donations this week at all, 0. Which is fine. I mean, I don't really expect anything from anyone, but I think we've been doing good work, and that's one of the things that I get from you guys as donations is it's kind of like a pat on the back. It's like, good job, buddy. And a whole lot more. Hello, caller.
Hey, how are you tonight?
I'm good. Who is this?
Hey, this is Chris, man. I'm calling from the Cleveland area.
Hey, Chris, it's good to hear from you. Thanks a bunch for calling. What's going on?
I just want to know what your thoughts are, about the censorship of, the big man, and where that's going to lead from there, and the rest of them that are following suit. And I know people don't agree on voices, but don't you think that's what makes it a democracy, is having opposing viewpoints? I mean, I can't believe that they have the power that they have, and what do you think we're going to do from here, man?
I think, I really hope a lot of people are just going to quit Facebook and Twitter, and, just until there's something that comes along that, works for them that way. And I think they'd be happier and better off, honestly, if they quit those things. I think that I have a video about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and she's saying that there has to be a crackdown on free speech on the social media channels. So I think they're going to pass laws about what kind of speech is going to be allowed and stuff like that. I think that's what's coming down the pike.
And what do you? Who's okay with that? To crack down.
The people who put the police state in power in the first place, the Democrats and the Republicans.
I mean, that's one thing for sure. But Americans don't know that right now. Whether what party they pick, they have been sold out. Now the question is, who's in power? Is it China that's running this, or is it, who really is the puppeteer? Because there is one now. And if anybody's paying attention to the shit that's going on, Washington is like a war zone. They have, we're absolutely. Is it so no one can get in, or is it so no one can get out?
It's so that the politicians are secure, so they can continue to do their evil deeds in our names.
So what do we do? Do you go after the corporations?
We continue to move forward. Look, we'll get through it. We always get through it, no matter what. I mean, they can fucking pass their Patriot Act 2. They can try and clamp down more on the freedom of speech. But the thing is there's only so far you can push people until they push back real hard.
Man. Yeah, I agree.
And I think, that's one of the things I talk about a lot. Is I don't like people telling me what to do. And it's been that way my whole life since I was a little kid. And
I think a lot of us are like that.
Yeah, and,
I have no problem with, I don't care if you want to go home and fornicate your bicycle or your plants. I don't care what you go do with your time. Don't push it on me. Don't force me to accept it. Just let me live my life. But you have too much of this now, of everything pushing down everybody's throat. And I think you're right. It's finally time for the resistance. It's just, where do we go from here? Where do we go when the internet shut down and there's no communications or anything else, man?
They can only shut down. They can only shut down the media, the internet, so much. It's like, they did this to Alex Jones, right? They kicked Alex Jones off of everything, and then Alex Jones is back. He's doing fine, But the thing is that when they start, when the people recognize this, it's what I've been saying all along, is that the people have to end these petty divisions. Okay, they have us so divided
Yeah.
that we can't actually act like Americans. We have to act like LGBTQ Americans, or black Americans or white Americans. We can't just be Americans. They got to have
That's the truth,
Republican
man.
Americans, Democratic.
That's the
If
truth.
we could just be Americans, then we have
And they've
all
done
the
it with
power.
more. I mean, this whole year, Mike, they've done it with masks. They've done it with, you can go do this, and if you're in the lead or whatnot, you can go to the winery, but the rest of us can't. And and people are just supposed to sit and watch, and then, it's almost like they throw it in your face. I mean, anybody who's watching mainstream media now is an absolute moron if they're following, unless they're watching it to see what spins put on it, because it is absolutely ludicrous to think that we're here at this time and age and we're still being forced to wear a mask or whatever it is, or and who even knows if it's real or not? The CDC. Can you trust them? You can't trust anybody.
Can't trust you can't trust any of the pillars of the community. It's not that you can't trust anybody. You can trust your neighbor. You can trust a lot of people, but you can't trust the pillars, the people that are the so-called leaders. Because they're not there to
Why do they
like I said.
Wait. You know what? They need to stop calling them leaders.
Yeah.
They don't fucking lead us with anything. They're elected representatives that were supposed to work for us. Whoever gives them that leader thing, that's where the spin starts. The psychological warfare, and then the sheep fall, and they're like, oh, they're our leaders. Mitt Romney's my leader. Oh, fuck that. These people are losers, and most of them are sellouts that have done terrible things to get to the positions that they're at.
And not only get the positions that they're at, but once they get the positions that they're at, they do terrible things in your name with your tax dollars.
Yeah, you got me fired up tonight. I'm gonna fire one up here. You talk for a second while I smoke this thing down. All right.
All right. So again, I don't. I'm not one of these people that are like, oh, it's the end of the world and everything's gonna turn to shit. That's not the way I see things. I see things as, I think this is beautiful. I think the more they try to clamp down, like I said, the bigger the pushback's gonna be, and it's time for a really big pushback. So please bring on your fucking clamp down. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, so that the whole fucking world can see exactly who you are and that you hate freedom of speech. Okay? Because that's what everybody needs to recognize. These people hate freedom of speech. They hate freedom, and it's not their freedom that they hate. It's your freedom. Your freedom to have the right to criticize them. Your freedom to have the right to stand up and say, hey, hear what I'm telling you. They hate it. They can't stand it. They see it as a threat, and that's what makes you a potential enemy combatant. Potential terrorist. A fucking terrorist. It's who you are to these people.
Don't you feel like now being a patriot is a terrorist?
Just being an American is a terrorist. Especially if you support freedom of speech or freedom, or you're speaking out against the government. If you're speaking out against the government now, you're a domestic terrorist.
Yeah, according to who?
According to all the people in Congress and the Senate. And in the media.
The real fucking terrorist. The real terrorist.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's the fact, Jack.
Absolutely, man. What's next?
Well, we just stay cool. We stay cool, and hopefully we're able again to move beyond the division and recognize the real enemy. The real enemy is not China. The real enemy is not Iran. The real enemy is the people in Washington, D.C. and your local state capitals that are making laws that limit your freedom. Okay, that is not what this country.
Media.
That is not what this country is about. Well, they're right. They back them up. Again, it's all the pillars of the community that are full of shit. It's not just, the politicians and the media. It's also the police, the so-called justice system. It's also the religions. It's also the fucking...
The judges.
Yeah, it's also the fucking, the education system. It's just all, everywhere, it's like, the police, anywhere where it's like your last bastion to be able to turn for help, they're just completely full of shit, and they are the so-called leaders of the community. So we're stuck being misled, misprogrammed from day one, and these people go around, living the high life, committing crimes, doing it in your name.
Man, I love the background. Where's that at? Where are you where are you flying around right now?
That's Billingham. I think that's Billingham. Is that Billingham, Craig? Can you see that? Craig's busy. He's working. I think that's Billingham Marina. That's what it says on the video. Craig does drone videos when he goes out to different job sites, and we go out to, it's a really beautiful, it's an amazingly beautiful state, Washington State. I love it here.
My sister lived in Seattle. We'd come up and visit there. You're absolutely right. It is beautiful.
Yeah, I tell people all the time I live in a rainforest, and they're like, "You live in a rainforest?" I'm like, "Yeah, I live in a fucking rainforest, man."
Oh man. Well, I'm not gonna take up any more of your time. I've gotten my piece out that I need to get. I'll call again, and man, just keep praying.
Well, look, just keep moving forward and stay cool, okay? It's just like if you lose your cool, that's when they get the advantage, because they have the advantage already. And as the second,
it's funny. It's funny you said that. I keep telling people, you got to take a step back, because this is the biggest psychological operation that humans have ever been through in history. Whether it's the virus, you don't know who the president is, you don't know whether you can do this, you don't know do this. It's all to make you make a bad decision.
It's all to make you afraid and divide us. The mask or the mask are to show you who you're supposed to be afraid of, and it's every single person wearing a mask. In case you guys didn't know it.
Do you wear one?
I don't wear one unless I go to the store, and then it's like a requirement, and I don't want to make, I'm not here to fight with people about stuff like that. But when I go out,
I just want to make sure you weren't wearing one in your car by yourself.
Oh, no. When I go out and walk the dogs, I see people wearing them walking everywhere, and I'm just like, dude, you couldn't be in a more open space. What are you doing? You're going to make yourself sick wearing that thing.
Because they've been able to manipulate and scare the shit out of not everybody, not me, but it's obvious if you look around. You can see it. And they destroyed relationships because of it, and also like the holidays, people don't have the chance to get together and talk right now. It's kind of like the shit they did in 1775. The king wouldn't allow you to do this, and this. Well, fuck you. We're free.
Right,
born under the U.S. Constitution.
Another caller was saying that the reason they have all the bars and restaurants and stuff shut down is because the bars is where revolutions generally start. Is people gather. Yeah. So.
You get a couple beers, people start talking, everyone starts agreeing. Like, yeah, this is fucking bullshit. And guess what? We're the majority. Who elected this asshole? Oh, we did. Well, guess what? I mean, and some of these people, how long they've been there in Washington making the same things, enriching themselves, how rich and wealthy they are. How do people keep putting them in there? It can't be happening for real. They've got to be cheating. It's got to be some way. And it has to come to an end.
We deserve better. There's just no doubt about that.
100%, man.
It's good to hear from you, brother.
All right. Hey, you take care of yourself.
Okay, call back anytime.
I will, man.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
All right, so, and you can hear it in the voice of the people. Some people call, and you can hear it, and they're scared. And again, that's, but you know what? Generally, if they're long-term viewers, that scared thing seems to go away. But at the same time, I think people who stay afraid probably don't stay on this channel very long, because that's the exact opposite of what this channel is about. I mean, I may be talking about terrorist events, my terrorist radar going off, everything in perfect position, but it's not to scare you. I'm not here trying to scare you. I'm telling you to stay cool, and we'll get through it, because we always do. There isn't really another option. You understand? So, again, if anybody wants to call, the number's right there on the screen. Otherwise, I have videos to play, and I'm going to go play one now so that I can go heat up my tea, and I'll be right back. We'll start here this evening, shall we?
Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is making a controversial proposal in the wake of the Capitol violence reigning in the media. Sinclair National correspondent James Rosen reports from Washington.
Mr. Speaker, Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York begins her second term as a titan of the party's progressive wing, a media celebrity on a scale Congress has never produced before, already the subject of 4 biographies, 2 books of quotations, a coffee table book of photographs, a coloring book, and several comic books.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is pragmatic. She's smart. She's the future of the Democratic Party. She knows how to use social media and use it well. She's established herself as someone who understands the needs of people on the ground.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Ocasio-Cortez is also, lest we forget, a member of the Oversight and Government Reform Committee, which has broad jurisdiction over federal regulation. After the Capitol riot, AOC, as the Congresswoman is now universally known, said she and many other lawmakers worried they were going to lose their lives that day.
I had a very close encounter where I thought I was going to die.
Now the Democrat from Queens is using her unique stature to promote a new cause, tighter regulation of the media.
We're going to have to figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation and misinformation. There's absolutely a commission that's being discussed.
When President Trump urged the repeal of the federal statute that shields social media platforms from lawsuits, many denounced him for moving to censor speech he doesn't like. Phil Klein, a conservative attorney and activist, harbors similar concerns now.
The concern is the lack of faith in the American people, that you need somebody like AOC or those in Washington to be able to filter information because the American people can't handle it themselves.
Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez did not respond to our request for comment. In recent days, she has communicated via Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and local TV. But a review of the congressional record shows no remarks from the House floor since November 20. Outside the nation's capital, James Rosen.
So I think that Alexander, again, I really like this crackdown. I really like seeing this. I love it because it shows, again, these people for who they really are. You know, forever it's been, oh, the Republicans are just this police state. It's both sides, dude. They're the same. They hate your freedom. They see your freedom as a personal threat to them. And they are disgusted that that freedom exists. And they will do everything in their power to eliminate that freedom as quickly as they can. You can count on it. It's like with Donald Trump running again in 2024. They're terrified of the Donald Trump running because they hate your freedom. You have the freedom to go, oh yeah, we hate all you people in Congress. And we did want the House of Representatives, the people's house, taken back and occupied. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to support this guy. You know, they're terrified of your freedom. They don't want you to have the freedom to choose Donald Trump in 2024 as a presidential candidate. It's not that they don't want him to run it, and they talk about, oh, you disrespect the voters, and all these millions of voters saying that the election was, you know, blah blah blah. But at the same time, you know, the reason they want to do this second impeachment of Donald Trump, try and push through an impeachment, is so that they can say you can't run for president. You can no longer hold political office because they're terrified. It's just this political punishment kind of thing, and I find it disgusting. You know, I despise Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a horrible, and the reason is because he was born with this gold spoon in his mouth, given everything. He could have made anything in the world happen, right? He could have made all these amazing things in the world happen, and what he chose was to be a playboy golfer, you know, chase and tail. That's who Donald Trump chose to be when he could have been making all these important things happen in the world. For the world, for everyone, you know, and it's sad because you know, how many people actually have that opportunity to take it. Hello, caller.
Michael, this is Steve McClanahan reporting to you live from an uneasy situation here. I'm kicking off the new year 2021 in a bad way, Michael. I'm trying to.
I told you to stop shooting that heroin in your eyes.
I should have never shot the heroin into my eyeball. I never should have done that. Kicking off 2020 like that, what 2021 is not good for 2020 vision. I am not kidding you. I should have never. I should have never done that.
Don't stick needles in your eyes, kids.
I'm telling you, if you stick a needle in your eyeball, don't try to look around because, oh fuck.
Look around, round. Look around, round.
But Michael, I'm trying to get the new year started off in a positive way.
Yes, well, you know, there's a wise man who once said, there is no try, there is do or do not.
Well, I don't know who the fuck that guy is, okay? I'm sure he was wise as fuck. But as a journalist, I need to get back on track to being a goddamn fucking legit journalist,
Well,
Michael. And so,
really, and you left the try part out of that. It's like I need to try to get back on track. It was like I need to get back on track. This is what I'm telling you. There is either do or do not. There's do or do not. No try. Don't give me this try bullshit, Steve. I don't want to hear that crap.
No, dude, there's only doing it and doing it live.
There you go.
I'm back. Michael, this is Steve motherfucking McClanahan doing it. We're doing it live, whether you like it or not. Keeping a positive attitude at the end of the fucking day. And we're understanding everyone that, you know, comes onto the fucking podcast currently. You know, we're understanding them. We are understanding them. This is a new word. It's called understanding. It's not just understanding. We are understanding individuals right now. I know it's mind-blowing. Understanding is a new word. And I want this to be known in the year 2021. Understanding. It's like understanding, but it's keeping a positive attitude, trying to understand what people are trying to make you understand. It's really hard out there in the world. But Michael, I feel like that my first legit interview for 2020 should be with motherfucking Michael from Mox News.
Okay, well, you should schedule that with him.
I need to get a couple of questions from you, Michael, currently.
Okay.
This is not ambush journalism right now, Michael. We got a couple of fucking questions out here.
Well, get on with it, man. Don't keep telling me you got questions. Just fucking ask them.
All right, well, we can edit that part out. Okay, so, Michael, what is your favorite slice of pie?
Punani?
No, dude, like, is that literally like a legit pie you can get from like Village Inn or some shit, Denny's or something?
Punani pie.
We don't know anything about that.
I bet you don't. I bet you don't.
Viewers are going to have to look into that. Okay, second question. Michael, what was your favorite thing from 2020?
Punani?
God damn it, Michael, you're lying. You're lying.
It's always my favorite thing.
This is what happens when you throw softball questions. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not kidding you. This shit out here, being a journalist, it's rough. Trying to interview individuals, they just fucking they don't give you any information, ever. This shit is hard, being a fucking journalist. I am not joking. ladies and fucking gentlemen, I don't even have a third question. I gotta go. I'll call back later when I fucking figure out the third and final question because I'm stumped.
I can tell you the answer. I can tell you the answer right now.
No. I'll wait for it.
Okay, you wait for it. Good to have you back, Steve. Keep up the good work.
We're doing it. Keeping a positive attitude.
You can do it.
We're doing it. We're doing it live.
Good job, Steve. All right. So, Steve McClanahan, I have another video for you guys. I'm going to play this video. I'm going to go check to see if we got any donations yet because I have a big old fat dab ready to go, but it's Dabs for Donation Friday, and I can't take any dabs if I don't get any donations, can I? So I'm going to go check and see if we got any donations. I'll be right back. Give me just a minute. Stay cool. It'll be okay.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here as we near the end of another week together, and with just 5 days now until the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden. Tonight, the nation's capital is a fortress. The FBI concerned about any plans for a potential second act from rioters who stormed the Capitol. Tonight, the FBI now warning of the potential for improvised explosive devices, IEDs, and about threats to lawmakers and political leaders. And this evening here, the images from the Capitol surrounded by fencing now, razor wire, and thousands of National Guard troops. 25,000 troops will be there for the inauguration. And it comes as we are learning just how close the rioters chanting "Hang Pence" came to the vice president as he was being whisked away during the siege. Reportedly just about 100 feet away. Rioters were led away from Pence by Officer Eugene Goodman. One of the first people who breached the Senate chamber, Jacob Chansley, he was in court today, and authorities on the ominous note prosecutors say Chansley left on the vice president's desk in that chamber. Also under arrest tonight, the man seen in this horrific scene, allegedly beating down an officer with an American flag on a pole, and we are hearing from some of the officers tonight who were under attack, including Officer Daniel Hodges, screaming for help as he was crushed in that doorway by the mob. Tonight, we're also learning about that phone call now between the Vice President Mike Pence and the Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. And news tonight here on President Trump, who is now planning a military-style farewell for himself on the morning of the inauguration. So we're going to begin here this Friday night with ABC's Martha Raddatz leading us off.
Tonight, the nation's capital braced for violence. Checkpoints and barricades throughout the city. Armed National Guard patrolling Capitol Hill. And with just 4 days before Joe Biden is sworn in, unprecedented shutdowns.
As of this morning, the Secretary of the Interior has officially closed the areas in the National Mall.
And an inaugural rehearsal planned by the Biden team for Sunday has been postponed, according to sources. Among the FBI's top concerns for Inauguration Day, the substantial threat of improvised explosive devices and the ongoing threat to members of Congress and political leaders. And tonight, we are learning just how close the rioters who stormed the Capitol last Wednesday got to Vice President Pence. The Washington Post reporting Pence was rushed from the Senate chamber 1 minute before this group reached the second floor, only led away by Officer Eugene Goodman, who acted as a decoy. That scene playing out while Pence, his wife and daughter were just 100 feet away. After he was rushed to safety, one of the first people to reach Pence's desk, Jacob Chansley, the so-called QAnon shaman. Prosecutors arguing he should remain in custody after leaving a note on Pence's desk that read, "It's only a matter of time. Justice is coming." Prosecutors also citing images they say are of retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Larry Brock with those zip ties as evidence of plans to take hostages. Brock and Chansley both served in the military. And Jacob Fracker, one of the 2 Rocky Mount, Virginia policemen arrested, is also a corporal in the Virginia National Guard, off duty at the time. Jenna Ryan was arrested today. The Texas real estate agent took a private jet to Washington and called it one of the best days of her life. And tonight, chilling firsthand accounts from some of the heroic police officers fighting off the mob last week. 32-year-old Daniel Hodges crushed against a door, not certain he would survive.
At this point, my arms were pinned, so I couldn't really defend myself. Once he got my mask off, he also was able to rip away my riot baton from me and started beating me in the head with it.
And Officer Michael Fanone, grabbed by the mob, tased and beaten.
People started chanting, kill him with his own gun. And at that point, self-preservation kicked in. I remember thinking, I could kill some of these guys, but that would give them the justification that they were looking for, I think, to kill me.
The father of 4 pleading for his life, talking today with our Pierre Thomas.
I remember yelling out, not to anybody in specific, but, I have kids, and it seemed to work.
But he suffered a mild heart attack and spent 2 days in the hospital. But it could have been so much worse. And tonight, that sobering sight in the district, those armed National Guard on the Hill, 25,000 expected by next week. Inside the security perimeter today, we spoke to members of the Guard preparing for the worst.
I was here that day. There were veterans in the crowd.
It weighed on my heart heavy to feel that brothers and sisters that served before me, that paved the way for us serving today, were taking part in such an act. Hopefully they can answer for their actions.
So let's get to Martha Raddatz with us live tonight. And Martha, it was last night here we reported on the Vice President Mike Pence, that unscheduled stop up there at the Capitol to thank members of the National Guard like the members you spoke with today. And this evening, we're now learning more about a phone call last night between the Vice President Mike Pence and the Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. He called to congratulate her.
Exactly, David. Vice President Pence did call Kamala Harris to congratulate her and visit the National Guard in this fortress of a city. Donald Trump has stayed far away from the Hill. And, of course, he hasn't called Joe Biden because he still refuses to concede. David?
Martha Raddatz has been on the scene for many days for us, and we see that presence right behind you there tonight. Martha, thank you. And, of course, next tonight, the investigation where it stands. Authorities have now opened up to 300 investigations. Let's get right to our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas. And Pierre, among them, you're learning tonight that the investigations involve an alarming number of current and former members of law enforcement who might have been involved.
That's right, David. As the cases unfold, the federal prosecutor overseeing the FBI investigation has noticed a disturbing trend. Among the mob, the FBI has identified a growing number of former and current law enforcement officers and military officials as well.
And we'll be following this in the days and weeks ahead. Pierre Thomas with us tonight as well. Thank you, Pierre.
Let's see. Okay, so let's see. If anybody wants to call, the number's there on the screen. Again, what I'm seeing is America looking more and more like a police state than ever before. And I've been screaming about how much it looks like a police state for a generation, at least. So, But I think that the people are reaching their limits. I don't know about you guys, but I when they're talking about sedition and stuff like that, it's just idiotic. Hello, caller.
Yeah, isn't that quite hypocritical that Antifa and Black Lives Matter can burn businesses and start fires and burn state houses and stuff like that for 9 months, a year, and then a bunch of right-wing dingbats break through the doors, and now it's like they're the dire threat to America, and it's on the news 24/7. And we're going to arrest them all, and it's all they're all white supremacists and crazy people, and they want to overthrow the United States. And it's like, wow. I mean, it's a psyop. It's propaganda. I mean, it's not equal punishment. They're really going after these guys. They're going after the people that were on camera, and it's okay if you burn cities and you burn blocks, but whatever you do, don't attack the Capitol building, because we'll just change America turn on a dime, and you combine that with the media blitz, the saturation propaganda, and the media, blocking out the media purge, blocking out certain voices, but not blocking out other voices. It is what it is. I'm not going to cry over it, but it's remarkably hypocritical. What do you think about that, Mike?
The problem with censorship is that it's always going to be. It's like the Mox News motto, right? The Mox News motto has been from day one unfair and biased, and the reason that it's been unfair and biased is because there really isn't another, their journalism is always going to be unfair. It's always going to have a bias to it, and anybody who tries to tell you that they're completely fair and unbiased is lying. I don't think it's even possible to do journalism without a bias. So right up front, Mox News always said, we're unfair and biased, and the reason I bring that up is because it's this. It's the way it is now. What you're talking about, the unfair, the unfair treatment, the unfair justice. It's not something new. The justice system has always been we punish the people that we want to punish. And we let the people that we want to let get away with shit. So. And again, that's this whole problem with this believing that one side's on your side or the other side's on your side, because they're not. All these people are American. All the people that you talk about, they're Americans. And again, the protesters, in Portland that we watched all summer long, that's what I said about them again and again and again. And now when they show these other people protesting, this is what I say about them again and again and again, because if you have some kind of bias on one side or the other, then you're just buying into the propaganda. It's like they all belong in the streets where they are. They all belong attacking government buildings because that's what they've been pushed to. They don't want to do that. That's not who they want to be, is attacking, going to war with the police. It's not a good idea. It's not a healthy plan. But they've been pushed to their limits, and they're like, we don't have any other choice now. If we don't stand up now, we're not going to have an option soon. So, you got to stop with the division, man.
Well, when you have a happy, prosperous population, the protests are less. This is a combination of the COVID-19 lockdowns, the 4 years of fake impeachment, the fake investigation into Russia collusion, which, Trump declassified all the, a bunch of FBI papers dealing with Crossfire Hurricane and the Mueller investigation, and that'll all come out, and I'm really sorry they went through the doors, because if they had just stopped at the doors and banged on some drums and made a noise big enough so that people inside could hear, then we wouldn't be, you wouldn't have had this technocrat crackdown, Facebook, Twitter, Google, YouTube, and that was uncalled for too. So it's like, very much.
No, you look at, man. Okay, I don't know what the fuck story you're buying into, but if you think that they haven't been looking for anything they can to do this lockdown of fucking YouTube, Facebook, it's been coming forever. Look what they did to Alex Jones. This isn't something new. Okay.
Yeah, but they went so far as to present themselves as more powerful than the President of the United States. He's a crazy man. The plot, the undercover
right,
plot.
That's what they want. Okay, again, it's not. That's what they want. It's not because these people went through the doors of Congress. This is the thing that they've been waiting for. They want anything they can use to make that happen. So, again, and it's not that these people fell into their little plot. These people did what, proud Americans should be doing, which is going and occupying their capitals, saying, we demand our fucking representatives hear our voices.
in. I haven't been in that many protests, but I was in the Occupy movement, and I was always the sane voice, urging people to keep calm and keep cool. Even when the police were advancing, I was telling people, stay calm, don't run. You know, and I'm in favor of dialogue. I can't. These guys should have stopped at the door, but the election was definitely stolen, and now we're in a uncharted territory as far as internet media, and I've never seen a crackdown like this before. And you know, you're going to have a virtual inauguration, and I'm not too worried about Trump, but it's a remarkable time. I see. If I'm in a protest, I don't care unless they're murdering people in the streets, citizens. I'm not in favor of burning or looting or breaking windows or shooting people.
Look, I'm not a big favor of looting anything, but if the police are shooting rubber bullets, if the police are shooting flashbang grenades, and you want to throw a Molotov cocktail back at them, I mean, we watched the Seattle police shoot a 90-pound girl intentionally in the chest with a flashbang grenade this summer, and it immediately stopped her heart. If it were not for the incredibly brave medics on site that went immediately into administering CPR on her, she would have died.
Well, I think those people that went into the Capitol did walk into a trap. They fell for the trap, hook, line, and sinker, and now we have this. And if you can accept that premise that somehow there was a trap laid for them, that the powers that be actually wanted this to happen, then you have to accept also the premise that they're light years ahead of us in terms of
they have a plan. They have a plan. But if this is something that people across America in every walk of life saw, and millions and millions and millions, tens of millions of Americans thought, yeah, fuck yeah, then it's emboldening. And it's encouraging, and it's inspiring for more and more people to go, you know what? We can go to Washington, D.C., and we can take our government back. And you think they're going to keep National Guard troops there fucking forever? I don't think so.
I disagree, dude. I think that the majority of the population now looks at Trump and his followers.
Fuck Trump! God! Fuck Trump, man. This isn't about Trump. It's about America. Okay? I don't know how... Look, this is the spirit of America. America was built, born on fucking rebels overthrowing an over-intrusive government that wouldn't get the fuck off of their backs. And they said, enough.
I know that. You know that. That's how things change. But nonetheless, because of the PSYOP and the saturation blitz of propaganda, the general attitude towards what happened was to demonize these Americans who did go through the doors and vilify, the whole right, and they're all crazy, and more people are fooled by the PSYOP than actually see it for what it is. That's my point. It's not like I disagree with we should have more access to our government in various ways. We should, but we are where we got to accept where we're at, and we're at the beginning stages of about a 2 or 3 year dialogue about social media and free speech.
That seems like a pretty good place to be.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to see me. I just accept it. I'm not.
I want nothing more than to see these fuckers standing up there and saying, "This is not acceptable speech. This is not acceptable speech." We need them on the record saying that shit. Okay, because if that's who they are, then they are un-American. Okay?
And I guess that's what the point of that AOC video you just played was she's calling for more crackdown on speech, right? Wasn't
Yeah.
that the,
Yeah.
Well, I disagree. I completely disagree with her, and it's like, it's like, it's so stupid.
Well, again, that's showing that she hates freedom of speech. And again, just like I keep saying to all of you, these people, all these lawmakers, I don't give a fuck, left, right, Trump, fuck, whatever. Okay? They hate your freedom. They see, let me be clearer. They see your personal freedom, you, Michael, SoCal. They see your personal freedom as a threat to them, and every other person in America's personal freedom as a personal threat to them. Okay? They're there to take it away, and that's why we have to, again, recognize the real enemy. Understand the only true threat to our freedom, to your personal freedom. It ain't Iran.
Yeah, I mean, it's really terrible that we have lost so much of our freedoms. And I think if it was you or somebody else that was talking about Patriot Act 2.0, I can't remember, but yeah, that's where we're at, Patriot Act 2.0, and it's so there's this massive argument that's going to become, that is already here, and it's going to be continuing for several years. And I hope we can sort it out, and we'll see what happens. But I'm not worried about right wing. Yeah, I'm not. That propaganda doesn't affect me a single bit. And unfortunately, the country is so divided that probably more than half the people are fooled by the rhetoric and the saturation propaganda, and there's plenty of people, maybe 45%, 40%, that know that this is all part of a giant plan. It's called the Great Reset, and it's ushered in by, the Biden team, whoever the hell they are. He's just a neocon. He's hiring all Bush's guys.
No, he's exactly a neocon. So is fucking Donald Trump. Okay, so anyways, let me ask you a question about seeds, okay? I'm going to start two new strains, and I have regular seeds, and I want to get one plant of each strain started. How many? I'm thinking I'm going to start three seeds of each strain. You think that that's enough, or should I start more?
Yeah. You're talking about because you want females, right? They're not feminized?
No, they're not feminized.
Yeah, generally, if you start 3, 4 to be careful. 3 is the normal number, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if 4 to be careful, but so what? You get 2 females if you do 4. No big deal.
Yeah, no, I don't mind getting 4. I just don't want to get. I don't mind getting 2 and 2. I just don't want to get 8.
You don't want to get all males. Yeah.
Well, it's not. It's not that I don't want all. I don't want all males, of course. What I don't want is at the same time I don't want to have 8 females and nowhere to put them. Which I have places to put them. It's just I have.
And then are you going to take clones off of your females?
I'm hoping to. I'm not positive, but I'm hoping to. It depends. I hope.
Yeah, the weird thing about taking clones is that each seed, let's say you get a feminine plant, right? That's what you want, and each feminine plant has the option of evolving or manifesting one of 3 different phenotypes. So in other words, you could have 3 female plants of the exact same plant, and one of them will be superior to the other 2.
Right.
But you got to get it all the way through the bud stage until you can figure out which one's the best, and then you got to re-veg it and then take clones. So it's kind of a chore.
Oh, I figured that you take clones of all the plants, and then whichever ones are the best, you keep that one as a mother.
Yeah, that's a quicker way to do it. But
let me ask one more question. Do you have to change the light cycle in order to sex them, or are they just going to sex at a certain age?
Yeah, you when you cut your lights down.
So you can't tell which ones are the males until you change your light cycle, is what you're saying.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
you know, there's if you really want to boost them, you give them I don't know 3 days of blackout, and then you turn the lights up to like 12 hours, and they'll manifest their sex really quickly.
Okay.
So I forget the term for that 3-day blackout, but yeah.
I never heard of that before.
Yeah, you fucking go on one of the. As far as I know, they haven't kicked all the marijuana grower channels off of YouTube. So
They tried, but there was a big uprising, and they let a bunch of people back on, and everybody's kind of chilled, able to do it again.
Yeah, you could probably just type in how to sex your plants or something like that, and they'll tell you. The life cycle is what kicks it into puberty, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering because I was thinking, if it was, if I had 8 plants, I mean, if you have to wait until you change the light cycle, then, how do you like grow them out to where you want them before you change the light cycle and all that? You know what I mean?
Luckily, they'll go right back into veg once you know which ones are females.
Oh, so then what age do you sex them at?
You can, well, like I said, I'm not the best indoor grower. I'm an outdoor grower, but you can sex them. You can cut the light back at about, 4 or 5 weeks. And you cut the light back, and they'll manifest their sex. And then you turn it back up to 18 hours a day, and they'll just go right back into veg.
Okay. Good.
So, yeah, I mean, that's marijuana. I mean, God.
Well, I'm starting a garden this weekend, and it's really important to me because I feel like that's heading back to getting normalized. Life kind of normalized and.
Yeah, life goes on, man. Just because the world is coming down, you still make the best of what's still around,
Yeah.
So, but I'm not gonna let all this shit. Just give me my fucking money. That's all I want. Give me my fucking money. So, I mean, this sucks. How the general population can consider this to be a sane response to just another virus? I don't know how. Propaganda. That's the only reason I can figure out. Propaganda. Pretty soon, murder hornets and dragons and fucking alien invasions. They could have half the population spinning around just by putting out fake stories. It happens all the time. So I'm not too pleased with America, but it's the birth pang of something, a monster or a beautiful baby, but I don't know which one.
Freedom is messy, dude, and often messy is not pretty. So
This is certainly, oh my God! I mean, this exceeds Watergate. This exceeds Iran-Contra. It's on par with the 9/11 psyop, the false flag.
And you hear them. I've been hearing them all day talking about how they want to have a 9/11 style investigation into the the occupation or the domestic terrorist attack or whatever the fuck they're calling it, right? But they want to have it, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, a 9/11 style investigation. That must make everybody else feel so much better about what's happening now, so that they can spell out, okay, here's what happened, so fucking hell, man.
Well, I think they spent $58 million on Clinton's blowjob and about $6 million on the 9/11 investigation. So
yeah.
We can expect not much, and whatever stuff they dig up is just going to be unfair and biased. It's not.
It's not that it's going to be unfair and biased. It's going to spell out the story they want, the way they want it spelled out. It's not going to be a matter of whether this is the whole truth of what happened. It's going to be, and look how they, it's going to be all this. Look this way. This is what we want you to see. This is what we want you to understand. It's not going to be anything about the truth.
Yeah, and there's a mass exodus from YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook right now, but generally a lot of people will stay on as long as they can, but I'm still looking for a a good platform. There's no telling. Like, I'm blocked on Facebook right now, which is no big deal. I don't give a fuck. But that was for some COVID post that I did a month ago, and you know, they just first they said 3 days, then they said 7 days, and now it's 30 days, and it's like, fuck, I don't know what I did, but
that sucks.
Free speech is dead in America, you know, and so on my YouTube channel, I just have music, and I don't see how music could be offensive. I don't say any cuss words or anything, so they're not going to block my channel. And as long as you don't talk about Israel and the Jays, they're not going to block your channel.
Well, I keep thinking about starting to do dead baby jokes. You ever heard any dead baby jokes? I have some really fucking raunchy dead baby jokes.
I don't know if they've activated the dead baby algorithm yet, but yeah, it's really weird, man. I mean, I got personal stuff happening in my life, and it makes me want to just pull away from the internet for a while and not be on top of everything. It's like I could watch the news, and you know, I got like 200 YouTube channels I'm subscribed to at least, and I could go through that stuff 12 hours a day, and it's not going to make me happy, and it's not going to change the situation just because I'm kind of on top of the information. You know, it doesn't. The only thing that makes you happy is your personal life. So, you know, there's not much I can do at this point. I'm certainly not going to put on buffalo horns and animal skins and go to Washington, D.C. and call myself a shaman. Yeah, but yeah, hey, it's like it's WWF in Washington, D.C., man. It's you know, I'm surprised Hulk Hogan didn't show up.
I don't know what you expect rebels to look like, dude. But okay, this is you know, they come looking to be scary, you know. And I look, this is a good thing. It's a beautiful thing, and it's really a great day in America because we have people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez talking about how much she hates freedom of speech. And we're going to hear it again and again and again. And this, again, gives us the opportunity to recognize the only true threat to our personal freedom, which is the people in Congress and in our state capitals, the lawmakers. They're their only threat, not Iran. So
you know,
it's really important. It's a really good thing. Trust me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's the beginning of a national dialogue. And hopefully, you know, I hear a lot of truthful voices like you and me that agree with things that you and me say, you know. But I was talking to a government official last week, and she asked me my gender. I couldn't believe it. She said, "What's your gender?" It's like, you can tell I'm a guy. I almost wanted to say I'm a chartreuse penguin or something. I couldn't believe a government official.
God damn it, Fifth Element. They come in and they tell.
Yeah,
they tell
I'm
me,
a meat popsicle.
I'm a meat popsicle. Exactly. That's the perfect answer, I think.
Yeah, I should have told her that. But yeah, that was a cool scene, man. That was a really advanced kind of movie, you know. Multipass.
I love that girl.
Yeah, she's so hot. But yeah, man, you know, and Trump is going to do some farewell speech. I don't know. What can you say? I don't blame him for not wanting to go to the inauguration, you know.
Look, you know, again, they should do what they want to do. That's how people should live their lives. There's things about Trump that I like, but you know, right now, as Alex Jones has been screaming about for the last 10 days, Donald Trump should be his voice should be louder than ever, screaming about freedom, screaming about, you know, censorship, and again, I won the election. Fuck, who gives a shit? you know, you, because I guess that makes it about him. It's about, look at our freedoms being taken away right in front of your eyes. This is what he should be saying, and instead he's saying, oh, no supporter of mine would ever support blah, 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 blah. Fuck you.
It's, he's not a good communicator. Donald Trump is not, if he communicated better, he could connect with the American people and the causes of the American people much, much better. Like, I would say that, and you would say that, but he seems to be like, all of a sudden, oh, they fucked me, I'm tongue-tied, I don't know what to say. And they, you know, it's like the same dumb fuck holding up that same Bible upside down in front, you know, when the riots were going on. It's like, that's your form of communication? What is that, man? It's not even, it's not scholarly, it's not intellectual, that's not communication, you know? So, and that's
you know, I love that photo op, though. I love it. The news media. There was like one of the reporters there that was taking the pictures and stuff. She said, "Is that your Bible, sir?" And he looked at it and he said, "It's a Bible," which is like hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Fauci and Bill Gates are bigger enemies to America than Donald Trump could ever be, and they hammered that guy, and I don't feel sorry for him. But you know, open your eyes, man. This is a big deal. What's going down, and yeah, we'll get through it, but. You know, I'll see you on the other side, and I don't know how
it's better. It's better than we'll get through it. This is really important. All these motherfucking pieces of shit, so-called representatives, are gonna line up, and they're gonna line up against freedom of speech. And all the Americans are gonna see these people don't protect our freedoms at all. They don't respect the vow that they took at all. You know, and this is really important.
I know that. You know that. Let's hope the people open up their eyes and stop. This is the collective unconscious, you know. It's like everybody who doesn't have a connection to truth projects their own internal demons onto a guy like Trump or somebody else, and it's like, you know, stand your ground and keep your eyes open, and the truth is kind of self-evident. It's not that hard to see, man. They are pulling the whammy, you know, the bait and switch on the psyches.
The truth is very self-evident if you don't buy into all the division. If you buy into the division, any of the division really, then you're going, oh, well, this guy's on my side, so what he's saying I know is true. But that's not the facts. And here's the facts: is when they so-called when you take a child, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, and you show them a fake news story, and you ask them, "What do you think that story is real, or do you think it's not real?" They can tell right away, and it's because they haven't chosen sides. They're not on a side. They're just listening to what's being told to them, and they're analyzing it, and they're going, "Well, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever." You know, because logic hasn't been taken away from them yet, but. That's kind of, you know, that's the way I see things anyway. I've seen it repeatedly. You know, you show a child a fake news story, and they can tell the fake news from the real news.
Yeah, and the same goes for people. They can tell fake people too. You know, I picked up on that early as a child. It's like, yeah, everybody around me is so fake and so fear, and the fear ends up becoming infectious, and you end up trying to fight all the your false parents and your neighbors and your brothers and sisters, and you just want something real to belong to. But the only thing I ever found that was real was me. You know, no movement ever satisfied my desire for truth. No movement ever did. You know, so yeah, kids are smart, man.
Well, they're not. They have this kind of purity that allows them to, you know, see through bullshit, which is a good thing, and it's unfortunate that people get so jaded. All right, Michael, it's good to hear from you, man. I hope you have a nice weekend.
Yeah, you too. Take care, Mike.
Talk to you later. Okay, I'm gonna play a quick video, and I'll be right back. Let's see. I have a video about the protesters wanting. No, I'm gonna play a video about the NRA being bankrupt. NRA is bankrupt, people. NRA needs your donations now, but not nearly as bad as Mox News, in case you're wondering.
Chilling new reporting from the Washington Post tonight about just how close that mob that stormed the Capitol last week came to Vice President Mike Pence. The Post reporting Pence was inside the Senate chambers at 2:15 p.m. when rioters reached the entrance to that room. Capitol Police Officer Eugene Goodman, who is being chased by the mob, is credited with luring demonstrators away from Pence and his colleagues by running them in the opposite direction. Some in that crowd could be heard chanting that Pence should be hanged for certifying the election results. Security eventually evacuated the vice president from the Senate 15 minutes later. National Guard troops from our state are now headed across the country to protect the nation's capital.
About 400 Washington troops will be in D.C. by the end of the weekend. The first groups left today. They're going to join a group of about 20,000 National Guard troops from all around the country to reinforce security around the Capitol for President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration on Wednesday.
The Defense Department is also providing up to 25,000 service members for inauguration protection, which is 5 times more than its presence in Iraq and Afghanistan combined. The National Park Service has also closed much of the National Mall starting now through next Thursday.
Extra security efforts around our state's Capitol campus in Olympia will also remain in place through the inauguration. The Washington National Guard is keeping a close watch on the campus, and 2 people were arrested for disruptive behavior outside as the state's legislative session kicked off on Monday. All Capitol campus buildings are closed to the public because of pandemic restrictions.
In a developing story, the National Rifle Association has now filed for bankruptcy. The gun rights organization says it plans to move its headquarters from New York and reincorporate as a nonprofit in Texas. The move comes after years of accusations of financial mismanagement and tax fraud. The NRA insists it is financially sound, but just restructuring.
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb, the real sticky icky. Some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want. All at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company.
Do you know who I am?
You're the wizard.
Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you. It probably is. Keep it Brightside.
All right, so I went ahead and got the bong heated up because I can. Okay, you guys don't want to give any donations. It's cool. Don't worry about it. I have a bong hit when I want to have a bong hit. I don't need you to give me permission. Thanks a lot, Mom. But so I'm gonna have a bong hit here. But if you'd like to leave a donation, it's easy to do at moxnews.com, or there are clickable links in the chat, and there's also clickable links in the text body of this video. So if you get a chance and you are so inclined, please feel free to do it. And I will then do a bong hit in your name, because it's Dabs for Donations Friday, don't you know? That's what we do on Fridays. And no donation so far this week. Not just today, this whole week. Oh well. Poor me. Okay, so it's almost ready. Almost. It's still a little hot. I heated up kind of hot. Let's see. So, I thought that is interesting that the NRA is now out of money. It's weird, but again, they talk about the misuse of funds and stuff like that. So, if you're corrupt, it's not that weird. Pew, 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 pew. All right, that was a good one. Yeah, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Pika, pika. I can't get my Boo Bear to lay down by the river. He's underneath the water right now. He's laying in the river. So, wait, what is this? How does this thing work? Hold on. Wait a minute. Hello, caller.
What up, Mike? It's Brandon, man. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you, Brandon?
I'm good, man. One of my buddies just drove through that I was in the military with. He retired, and he's moving out there to y'all's location.
Right on.
So he should be there by the night. Yeah. He spent the night, gave me like a ton of weed.
Nice. Good to have. It's good to have friends, man.
I've never smoked moon. Like, I think he had some Gary Payton weed and some moon rock or something. It fucked me up, though.
Good. Awesome. Sounds like a good guy.
Oh, he's great. Hey, but I like what your little message. Whenever all this said and done with, man, because of those whatever happened in D.C., all that's going to happen is more regulation against the American people, just like 9/11, Timothy McVeigh, and all this other BS or whatever. It's so when people do dumb stuff like that, man, or whatever, or don't do it correctly, it just leads to more regulation. Anytime you ever threaten government, man, government puts a law in place so they can lock your ass up.
I think it's a real, honestly, Brandon, I think it's a really good thing, because what we're going to see is a lot of people on both sides lining up to say these people's freedom of expression, these people's voice, these people's right to protest the people's house must end now. And, basically saying your freedom is a threat to us, and we're taking it away. Yep. I think the more people that we can get to line up and say just that, the better we're off. Because then we'll recognize who the real enemy to our freedom is. Like I keep saying, we must recognize who the real enemy to our freedom is. And ain't Iran.
Hello, Mike. You there?
Yeah. Hey, Brandon. Yeah. No, I'm just saying it ain't Iran. It's not Iran's not the one who's going to take away your right to say shit on the internet.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean, I think there is attack on free speech, but I don't know. If you don't like something I say, and you make a law to say I can't say what I say, well, what happens when people like me get in charge and we make laws that stop you from saying things that you don't like being said? At the end of the day, everybody needs to have discussion, but we shouldn't, destroy property and things like that when we protest. We just want to get our point across. But it seems like.
But I want to say. But when they look, Brandon, when they went into the people's house, they didn't destroy. They didn't topple statues. They didn't light fires. Yeah. They didn't rip down 300-year-old paintings. So again, they didn't. In my opinion, these were actually very peaceful people. You know, I mean, because if it was actually a violent protest, there wouldn't be anything left of that building.
Well, I think that they just didn't do it the right way. Like if they wanted to go through and walk through the halls and chant and raise hell, that's one thing. You know, but when, you know, people are getting beat up, like, you know, the cops and stuff, you know, that's not, they shouldn't do that. That's what I was, just like with the Black Lives Matter.
But here's the deal. Brandon, look it. I understand what you're saying. The cops are doing their job and these people are beating them up. But the cops needed to get out of the way of those people, okay? Because the only reason those people were beating them up is because they were saying, you can't come in here. And they're saying, you're not the boss.
Yeah.
You're not the boss of me. Don't tell me what to do. Get the fuck out of my way. And they didn't get out of the way, so they got their asses beat.
Yeah, well, that's going to lead to bigger government.
Right.
Because now government's going to put things in policy to where we're going to lose even more of those freedoms to even get close to the building next time. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, again, that shows these people for who they are. This is the most important thing, is that these people, that we the people can clearly see who these people are. And they are not protecting our freedom, they're protecting their freedom. You know, and
well,
fuck that.
Well, exactly. Well, you know, again, whenever you had the protesters, this whole year was nothing but protest, by the way. You know, and
that's what we did. That's what we did. That's what we did here every night, Brandon.
Yep. And every time somebody disagrees with authority, then they get chastised or whatever.
They're domestic terrorists, basically.
Yeah, like an example would be when Colin Kaepernick took the knee. Regardless if you agree with what he did, but it was a silent protest, and he caught shit for taking a knee. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, I don't necessarily agree with his cause, but I absolutely agree with what he did. What he did is a beautiful, fine American tradition, as to use your voice and speak out and, you know, stand up against, you know, speak truth to power. You know, and that's what he was trying to do in the most peaceful way possible.
And they got sidetracked and you know, and it festered for years. You know,
they made it made it into an anti-American thing, and basically he's a domestic terrorist. You know, he got kicked out of the NFL because he's an NFL. He got kicked out of the NFL because he's anti-American.
Yeah, exactly. And now that's just how it is now. When they say, well, these people ain't patriots and everything like that. You know, I totally understand their, you know, them protesting. I totally get it. But yeah, I mean, but what I'm saying is it's going to be more laws are going to come down the pipe against us. That's what I'm implying. You know, to where it's going to be more regulation. Now your social media is going to be even scrutinized more. Your phone conversation is going to be watched more, and we're just going to lose more and more freedoms, man.
And look, this is a really good thing, because we've already lost so much freedom that it's kind of like losing a little more isn't really that big a deal. You know, right now, like I say again and again, it's almost like it's illegal to be human. You know, so
yeah, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, so because if you look like a certain type of human, then you're illegal. Period. And you can't say nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, if you look like me, you're definitely looked at like, okay, what's wrong with this guy? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and if you look like this, then you're a border jumper. Or if you look like this, you're going to rape somebody. If you look like this, you're going to blow yourself up.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. It is like that. And it's going to take a majority of America. But see, we've always been rebels. So I don't think it's in the American DNA to conform, right?
I think it's not in the. I think it's not in the human DNA. I think humans don't like being told what to do. You know, it's like, I don't need you to tell me what to do. I'm a competent human being. You know, back the fuck up. You know.
Yeah, yeah. But what's crazy is we kind of have a society similar to that. But the problem is these people, meaning government, want to say it loud in your face, put handcuffs on you, totally control you. You know,
they want to make examples of you so that your neighbors see what happens if you step out of line, Brandon.
Yeah, oh, exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the military does. If you make a mistake in the military, then you get an Article 15. They're going to take your rank away. They're going to take your month's pay away from you for 2 months, where you only get half a paycheck for 2 months.
Brandon,
and then they're going to take your time away.
Did you see that story, the video news story I posted about the Pentagon using an anthrax vaccine on this one soldier that was speaking out? And they made her have 3 fucking injections of the anthrax vaccine, and she went in the hospital every single time. She had like 300 seizures after having it and stuff. It was fucking horrible, man. That's who our military. Yeah. That's who the leadership of the military is.
And that whole anthrax thing was obviously fake. It was set up for a company to make a vaccine to inject us, because I got that damn shot, and then you got to get it's like a series of shots.
Yeah.
And then it's like boosters. And every time I got it, you have a big knot on your arm. And ask anybody that got it, the first thing they got to do some push-ups just to rub the knot out, you know. And yeah, and if you didn't get the anthrax shot, they kicked you out.
Yeah.
They court-martial you out. I mean, they wouldn't put you in jail, but they would just kick you out. And there was a lot of people that had concerns about that. Like, we don't know what this is. And then immediately after that, we got smallpox.
Yeah.
I remember flying to Iraq, getting injected with smallpox. I mean, the little smallpox stuff, like 3 days later.
Yeah.
You know, and that whole damn airplane was infested with smallpox, anthrax. Yeah, like 400 soldiers.
Wow. That's crazy.
But
dude.
yeah. But that's all I just want to call and say that all this is just going to lead to more regulation, more rules, and more of our freedoms being taken away.
Right. Okay, Brent, look, I hear what you're saying, but you have to understand that that's what they use in order to try and keep us in line. And again, we don't need to be told how to stand in line, you know, where to stand, what the fuck, where we can go, where we can't go. You know, enough of that shit. You know, we have the police state far enough up our ass. So what's happening is when the people, you know, occupied the house, and now they're going to use it and say and make all terrorists, make all protesters into terrorists now. But when they occupied the house and they took it back, and now we get to see the true evil that is our government. That, you know, these people who take a vow to protect our freedoms and then just fucking chip away at our freedoms every chance they have the opportunity to do so. You know.
Well, because they have to protect big corporate interests, and at the end of the day, they are scared of it. You know, so like you see a lot of politicians talking about, well, I carry a gun in the Capitol building, or whatever the case, but yet they the ones who pass laws that stop people from carrying guns. Right. You know, because they are scared of all of us. And that showed everybody that, yeah, that was only half of the American, you know, people that really did that. But if we all got on the same fucking sheet of music, we would have no fucking problems. Yeah. Really. Unless someone pissed you off.
Yeah, we have all the power. If we, you know, I mean, we could pull anybody we want out of that Capitol building and take them and put them in a cage. If the police won't jail them, we will. Okay? Because this is the fact, is these people are doing evil in our good name, in the good name of America, with our tax dollars, and acting as if somehow we approve of it. You know? So fuck those people.
Yeah, man.
They need to go to jail to protect all of our good name, to protect the good name of America, to make an example of them. They keep saying we have to make examples of these protesters, to make an example of them so that the politicians who come behind them know that they will not be allowed to do the same fucking bullshit that's led us to this dark place in history.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but you know what? I don't see it stopping. I see the right just bashing the politicians. That's all I see. I mean, boom. It's like this. Every Democrat votes 100 on a bill, and the Republicans vote the other way, and vice versa. As long as we keep having that, we ain't never gonna come together, man. And it's not us, because I like everybody, right? But it's them who constantly want that damn divide. Because if they know that we come together, then everybody have not saying anything free or anyway, everything can be affordable.
Well,
you can actually feel good about yourself.
The divide works really well for them. They can act as if they're on their side. Because then it becomes us and them, and it's like, no, I'm one of you guys. I completely understand. I'm on your side. No, that's just not the fact. And this is why I keep saying I don't really see any difference between Republicans and Democrats. I see them as exactly the same thing.
Yeah, well, it's all a money grab, man. I mean, like I was explaining to my buddy, I'm like, the reason why the Republicans are so dug in and the left is so dug in, and because of gerrymandering, to where you know that you are in a Democratic area and a Republican can never beat you, and vice versa. And you get rid of gerrymandering, right? And guess what? The right has to talk to the left, and the left has to talk to the right, and they got to hear each other. But when all you want to have is just, well, I just want the poor people, and I'll tell them this, and I just want the rich people, and I tell them this, and we'll argue every damn time we on Fox News or CNN or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. It's like they don't agree on no bill unless that bill is to spend money for some foreign aid or something, or to start a war.
Yeah.
Or to give a contract to a company.
Right.
That's the only time they come together. They don't come together when it comes to, it's like, why is white evangelicals such a big deal when black people love Jesus Christ too? I don't get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, well, the book's the same.
Well, because they say the reason
reason
it's such a big deal, Brandon, so you understand, is because they vote as like kind of a block. So they can go, if we can get these people's attention, if we can preach to them. Again, what I keep saying, if we can say the words these suckers want to hear, they will vote for us in this big way. And that's the facts, man. Is that they're the same people, okay? The politicians, the Democrats, Republicans, they're the same. They're just talking to different suckers. And I feel bad. I feel bad for the suckers, because the suckers want desperately to believe in their politicians. They want to go, oh, this is a great guy. I'm so glad this guy is representing us, and I want to get behind this guy. The people want nothing more than to have politicians like that, and they have nothing like that. It's very sad.
I know it really is, because just like like now, if you're a Trump supporter, then that means you're everything up under the sun, right? You're a bigot, you're racist, you're this, you're that. You don't want LGBTQ, whatever. And if you're on the left, you want everything free, and you want someone to pay for it so you can be lazy. And that's not the case. And it's not the case at all.
No.
Really, what it comes down to is people just want more freedoms, but they don't understand that giving somebody a little better paying job or bringing jobs to a community creates more freedoms for people to be able to,
do everything.
Provide for their family. or either to even start a family. I mean,
or start a business,
know.
or start whatever it is that they would like to do.
Yeah, man.
Freedom is a beautiful thing, and every time it's chipped away at, it's disgusting. And the people chipping away at it are a threat to all of us, to our entire species, because the only way this species evolves the way it's supposed to our maximum ability, is to have the freedom to be able to say anything that comes to our mind and fucking go whichever direction we decide that we want to go in. If we have these fuckers going, no, you can't go that way, no, you can't say that, we're never going to evolve into, what this species should really be, to our maximum potential. And it's fucked up. And you guys need to think of it that way. These people in Congress are keeping our species from evolving to its maximum potential. And how much more disgusting, how bigger a terrorist could you possibly be than that? Holding back our entire species.
I say that about when it comes to, like, when I look at government and economics. I'm like, the entire South for the longest would pay for, in towns and cities or whatever, an extra water fountain. You know what I'm saying? Totally stupid, wasted money. Or another bathroom. Totally stupid, wasted money. And we would rather, I think as government, would rather spend more money in suppressing people than it would to have more people be successful, because then everyone has to deal with competition. And I think that's the reason why you see this push against China. It's our corporations that have the products made over there, right? So they're working for them. So for me personally to attack China or about their money-making policies, everybody wants to make money. And our shareholders want more of a profit. And more of a profit is to have it made overseas, not in a small town in Wyoming or somewhere, or Oklahoma.
I really think that's what China honestly really, really wants, is they just want to make money off of us. They don't want to fucking go to war. If they go to war with us, then they destroy their biggest market and they stop making all this money. That would be the last thing they want to make happen. And yet, oh my God, China is the biggest threat in the world to all of us, Fuck you. Get a clue, man. That doesn't work for China to destroy their biggest fucking financial market, income.
It doesn't work for nobody.
Yeah.
Everyone on planet Earth is economically intertwined, right? Period. We need oil from this country. And if this country doesn't want to behave and sell us the oil the way we want it, then we're gonna put a blockade on it, right? It's competition, because of like Saudi Arabia sells oil and then that's their damn neighbor, right? So Saudi Arabia don't want competition. Right. Nobody wants competition. That's why you have Facebook buying up Instagram.
Well, that's why and that's why you can't buy oil from Iran. It's because Saudi Arabia doesn't want competition. That's why you can't buy oil from Venezuela, because Saudi Arabia doesn't want competition.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say this, but I know one man out there who loved competition, and that was Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm saying? He fought everybody he could. He fought the government and won. And we gotta have an attitude like that. We all should want competition. Like, you compete every time you're online, going live, and you may have a few people watching you. But you know what keeps you in the game? Competition. You want to get your point across. You love your fan base that calls in, and people missed you when you was gone. But it's competition. We got to stop being scared of competition.
I think competition. I tell you, competition is a good thing, because that's how you get a better product. Somebody makes a product and everybody goes, wow, this is fantastic. And then somebody comes along and improves upon that product and you go, wow. And again, this is how our species evolves to be its maximum potential. If we don't have this competition, there is no hope. And the government doesn't want this. The politicians hate it.
No, they do, because at the end of the day, they don't like competition. That's why they kiss all that butt. So, and that's why you don't see too many people getting primaried, or very few presidents don't get reelected. You know, because it's competition. They just eat the competition up. Meaning, like Bernie Sanders' ideas, they'll eat them up. You know, and they'll attack them or whatever, right? Or
it's why they don't want Donald Trump to. That's why they're trying to impeach Donald Trump again, because they don't want. It's not because he deserves to be impeached, or he's about to leave the White House, and they're going to continue an impeachment after he leaves the White House. And the only reason to have an impeachment is to get somebody out of the White House. So but they're doing it so that he can't run, and he can't run for public office again. So, you know, that, and that's because they hate, again, the politicians hate competition. They don't want, and that's how we, the people, are only ever going to get the best of the best, is through competition.
Well, you kind of seen it where, you know, I live in Missouri. We got Josh Hawley here, and then those other Republicans. It's like they're trying to steal Donald Trump's glory and his hard work, you know, and his base. And I think that kind of backfired on them because they're not Donald Trump. Only Donald Trump can do what Donald Trump does. You know, it's like Ric Flair. You know what I'm saying? You know, you can't be Ric Flair. You know, in order to be Ric Flair, you got to beat Ric Flair. And
I don't know. I don't know who that is. But I mean, I'd like to see somebody try to be me. You know, go ahead and try to be me. You know, because it's just not gonna. It's just not possible.
Yeah, it's hard. You know? It's just hard to be somebody else. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of grippers out there. You know, and I can't believe you don't know who Ric Flair is, man.
Is that a football player or something?
No, that's wrestling, man.
Oh. Yeah, no,
Hey, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Somebody send you some Ric Flair stuff. Because anyway, that's not about. Anyway, Mike, I can't believe you don't know Ric Flair. But anyway, no, hey, everybody said something in the chat about Ric Flair. Woo! But that's how it is. Donald Trump can only do that. He's never been a politician. He's been a male misogynist his whole damn life, and he's always been in the entertainment world, you know. And he's always walked around with his chip on his shoulder, didn't take shit from nobody, while all them other people had to go around kiss ass just to get their foot in the door to be a politician, you know. And he ain't got to do that, so they cannot be Ric Flair. So don't try to I'm not Ric Flair, but Donald Trump. Anyway, Mike, I'm gonna holler at you. It's a good chat with you, brother.
Hey, it's really good to hear from you, Brandon. It's always nice to talk with you.
All right, man. All right, y'all gotta take care.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon, I hope. And that's our buddy, two Bronze Star Brandon. And I am going to play a quick video for you, and I'll be right back. This is about the crackdown on social media, which is coming, and Brandon seems to be very concerned about. And so should you.
Since the attack on the Capitol, tech companies are taking big steps to get rid of certain posts and accounts that could play a role in future violence.
Now, a new leaked video of Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey shows him telling employees the company will be taking a broader approach to how it handles accounts like President Trump's. National correspondent Atra El-Nashar explains.
As America's political landscape changes, so does the internet.
They're trying to hold them up.
Following last Wednesday's attack on the Capitol, sites like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google, all reacting to the violence with measures like suspending accounts and political advertising. The moves giving some on both sides of the political aisle reason to be angry.
Unequal application of how the social media platforms have played this out that just infuriates people.
That is not protected speech. The second those tweets went up, they should have been deleted.
More changes could be on the way. Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey writes this week, the company is working on an open and decentralized standard called Blue Sky. Acknowledging the fallout of suspending accounts, Dorsey says, quote, we need to look critically at inconsistencies of our policy and enforcement.
Since Parler has been taken offline and Twitter suspended the personal account of President Trump and 70,000 others linked to the conspiracy theory QAnon, users are turning to other platforms like the encrypted messaging apps Signal and Telegram, both of which have seen an absolute surge in downloads in just the past few days.
But encryption poses a challenge for law enforcement, who are currently working around the clock to monitor threats online, trying to deter credible threats ahead of Inauguration Day. Acting Deputy Secretary of DHS, Ken Cuccinelli.
The whole federal team will be aggressive, not only in investigating but prosecuting that.
According to an internal memo to several federal agencies obtained by the New York Times, officials remain concerned about calls on social media to target government officials and property. Despite restrictions on the internet's most popular sites, the web still serving as a host for people planning more violence. In Washington, I'm Atra El-Nashar.
All right, so let's see. I have a couple videos left here about the DC protesters wanting to assassinate lawmakers. It just escalates. You know, first they were this, and then they were this, and then they were like, now they want to kidnap and assassinate lawmakers. It's because, and I'll tell you why they do the story like that. It's because if they just keep the story at the same level and they just keep talking about it in the same way, people are like, you know, can we move on? Isn't there anything else to talk about? But if it escalates every day, it gets a little bit more intense. And they were this close to Mike Pence. They were inches away from Mike Pence and his daughter. You know, then it becomes this like, and they wanted to kidnap him and assassinate him. It becomes, oh, what's next? What's the next detail that they're going to drop? You know, it's really, really over the top. And this is why I'm glad to see this escalation, right? This escalation, again, shows, I'm telling you, if you guys just watch V for Vendetta, you will see the news media, how controlled it is by the government on that movie, and how they are just basically towing the government's line. You know, they're just saying, they're literally, one of the lines in the movie is, you know, we don't write the news, we just read it. It's the government's job to make the news, you know, and because they're just, that's where the news gets the CIA gives the news their talking points every day. You know, they're like, oh, let's escalate this to here today. You know, like, oh, there's new facts on the so-and-so, the Justice Department just reporting, you know, these people wanted to kidnap and assassinate lawmakers, you know, because they're getting their talking points straight from the government. They're not going out and talking to any of these protesters. They're not going out and finding them and saying, hey, what was going through your head? You know, they're talking to their lawyers. Their lawyers are saying stupid lawyer shit. But it'd be really nice to hear these people saying, you know, yeah, it's not because of Donald Trump that I'm mad at the government. I'm mad at the government because all those people sitting in Congress who say they're doing the people's work, the people's business, when they're not doing any working class people's business. You know? And we're tired of it, and we deserve better. And we're going to make that voice heard. You know? It's easy to understand. And where is the media talking to those people? Why do those people never have a voice? You know, because that's the alternative narrative that they don't want you to hear. That somehow the government itself is responsible. You know, that the members of Congress are actually responsible for why there is people attacking the House of Representatives. Because again, they're not representing any of us. They're representing the elite and the rich and the giant corporations. They're supposed to be protecting our freedoms, and all they want to do is crack down on what's being able to be said on social media. How is that protecting our freedom? They took a vow, a sacred oath, to protect our freedoms from all enemies. And all they know is protect themselves, protect themselves. Your freedom is a danger to me. And I'm saying, I love your freedom. I want you guys, again, to be as free as possible so that you can make anything happen in the world that you want. You know, these people want to govern you. They're government. They believe you need to be governed. You need to be babysat. You need to be told what it is that's okay for you to say and what's not okay for you to say. Because we can't trust you with such things. Okay, so I have more video. If you guys want to call, the number's there. I'd love to have a discussion with you guys. I always, you know, as you guys' voices I really bring a lot out of me. When I hear, you know, it's like Brandon saying, you know, debate and competition. It's not so much I want to debate you, but when I hear you guys talking about these things, I want to go, yeah, and I want to expand on it, you know, to where, oh yeah, and I see this, you know, along with what you're saying, here's a even bigger point, you know. I really appreciate you calling. So if you want to call, the number's right there, 805-669-6397, 805-MOX News. Otherwise, I got another video for you. I'm going to play right here about the DC protesters wanting to kidnap and assassinate lawmakers, because I was just talking about that, so it seems appropriate that I play that video now.
Newly released court documents say members of the mob of President Trump supporters plan to capture and assassinate lawmakers. One piece of evidence is a note allegedly left by Jacob Chansley, the man seen with a headdress, face paint, and carrying a 6-foot spear during the attack. Federal prosecutors say he left a note for Vice President Pence at his desk in the Senate saying justice is coming. Chansley was arrested and charged last week in connection to his role in the riot. Chansley's lawyer told CNN his client was simply following President Trump's orders. The FBI has now arrested more than 100 suspects linked to the Capitol mob last week.
Looking live at the U.S. Capitol, officials continue to fortify the building with thousands of National Guards members ahead of the inauguration of the Biden-Harris administration. ABC News has obtained an assessment by federal authorities and several local law enforcement agencies. They claim, quote, domestic violent extremists pose the most likely threat to the inauguration. A new FBI bulletin is also warning of possible substantial danger from explosive devices during upcoming protests.
There's a great deal of very concerning chatter, and it's what you don't know that we are preparing for.
We have a special responsibility that there is a peaceful transition of power in our country.
Right now, national monuments around the Capitol and the White House are closed until at least next Thursday. The National Guard has set up checkpoints where drivers must stop. So those drivers, they're questioned, often turned away unless they have official business in the area. The Secret Service is in charge of the inauguration. They say they're prepared.
We cannot allow a recurrence of the chaos and illegal activity that the United States and the world witnessed last week.
Maryland's governor has declared a state of emergency, which allows the state to work closely with the federal government to support extra security efforts.
Now to another live look at the U.S. Capitol, where House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said during a news conference today that the entire Capitol complex must be subject to scrutiny in the wake of the riot. She's calling on retired Lieutenant General Russell Honore to lead an immediate review of security infrastructure, interagency processes, and command and control. Pelosi says we need to get to the truth so we can trust the people elected to serve the country.
If, in fact, it is found that members of Congress were accomplices to this insurrection, if they aided and abetted the crime, there may have to be actions taken beyond the Congress and in terms of prosecution.
Pelosi did not mention a timeline for sending the article of impeachment onto the Senate, but she called it urgent and told reporters in the room they would be the first to know.
Okay, so, and again, in my opinion, in my humble, very, very humble opinion, which I'm not trying to push on anybody, but what I see is I see that America has never looked more like a despotic police state than it does today. We have, you know, the crackdown shenanigans in the elections. We have the military in the streets. Okay, I've been doing this a long time. Okay, I've been doing this type of reporting since before 9/11, and I'm telling you, I've never seen America, the United States, look more like a police state than it does today. And it's sad because I don't think that's what the people want, and it's all being done by these so-called representatives who don't, again, seem to represent any of us. So why wouldn't the people want to take back the people's house from people who refuse to actually hear their voices? Of course, it makes sense. It's what should be done. It's what people who really care about their government would do. You know, not to allow them to do these crimes, not to allow them to crack down on our freedoms. You know, they swear a sacred vow to protect your freedoms. Okay? And they do the opposite day in, day out, and they know for a fact that's what they're doing, and they know that they're doing it purposefully, you know, in order to take away your freedoms. Because again, you must be governed or babysat, I'm sorry. Every minute of every day, you must be governed, or you're a danger to all of us, to entire society. If you're not, like, you know what a governor is? A governor is like a thing that they put on a throttle for like a motorcycle or a go-kart or something that only lets you go so fast. You are only allowed to go so fast. You are only allowed to get so big. You are only allowed to do so much. You are only allowed to be so free. We are governing you. That's who the people, that's who they see themselves as. That's how they see you, as someone to be governed, babysat, told exactly what you can and cannot do, exactly what is acceptable from you and what is not. And if that doesn't make you angry knowing that's who they are, then, you know, I don't know, maybe you're a better person than me. But I don't want those people representing me. And I'm ready to get rid of them. I'm ready for them to go. They need to go to prison. They need to be held accountable. They keep saying we have to make examples of these people, these protesters that occupied the House of Representatives. But they don't call them protesters. They call them domestic terrorists. We need to make examples of these people. No, we need to make examples of these politicians, sending them to prison for the rest of their lives in order to make an example for all the politicians who come after them. We will be glad to give you the same treatment, off to prison for the rest of your life. Either do the people's business, either do a job that makes the people feel proud of the job that you're doing, or go somewhere else. This is not the business for you. If you're here to do the corporate business, fuck you. If you're here to do, the police state business, fuck you. Drug war my ass. Oh, how's that working out for America? Drug war. You know who it works out for? It works out for the police state. You know who it works out for? It works out for criminals. You know who it doesn't work out for, the drug war? The people. The good people. Because there's a lot of people who are caught up doing drugs, addicted to drugs, who would not be if drugs were all legal. They would not be on those drugs. I promise you. You go and you look at the evidence. You look at the facts. You look at the statistics. In Portugal, they legalize everything. And their heroin addiction rate is way, way down. So, it's that simple. And it's obvious, it should be obvious to all of us if we weren't so divided and so filled with fear. Oh God, if you let people have heroin, there's going to be junkies everywhere. There's fucking junkies everywhere now. And I promise you, I guarantee you, If you let them have heroin, give it to them for $1 a dose. Tomorrow there will be fewer junkies. And the next day there'll be fewer junkies. And the next day there'll be fewer junkies. One way or another. But don't act like, oh, you can't do that. We're the boss of you and you can't do that. Because all that does is take away. All that does is chip away. Even if you're not interested in doing heroin, I could care less about heroin. I don't want to fucking do heroin. I don't want people around me doing heroin. I have this thing where, you know, when you have to draw blood, it's no longer a recreational act. You know, that's the way I feel about it. And I just don't want that people that's their job. It's not recreation, so that means it's their job to fucking find a vein and stuff drugs into it. I don't want to be around people who that's their job. And this is what I'm saying about there being fewer and fewer of them. If they didn't have to hide in the darkness, if they weren't going to be punished when they came out and said, hey, I have a horrible problem with meth, can someone please help me? You know, if they weren't going to be punished and sent to prison, they didn't have to fear that, people would get help. People would get help. Lots and lots and lots of people would get help right away and recognize right away that they're in over their head and recognize that there's people there to help them. Instead of a fucked up police state that's going to do their best job to fuck your life forever. Because that's what the police state does. That's what the police state's job is. That and to protect the rich. Because they sure ain't there to protect you. They're there to protect the elite, the people in Washington, D.C. You see the National Guard, right? The military is there to protect our rights. Fight for freedom. They're not there. That military there in Washington, D.C. isn't there to fight for freedom. They're not there to protect our rights. They're there to protect evil, corrupt politicians who are chipping away at your rights as we speak right now. That's why the military is in Washington, D.C. Not to protect any of the working class people. It's there to protect rich elite cunts, you know, claiming to do the people's business. When all they do is take away from us. They steal from the people, and they do evil in our good names. Okay? And if you can't understand why, after decades and decades of that, certain Americans might be fed up and want to take back the people's house, then you don't really care about freedom at all. Because they're coming for it. And they're not coming for my freedom. Because they can't take my freedom from me. They cannot. But, not everyone's like me. So if I was you, I'd be very concerned. Okay, let's play another video. Let's play a video about freedom taken away from a lovely military veteran who spent 14 years of her life defending this country, and then was murdered in Washington, D.C. by some fucking punk-ass bitch that we don't know their name yet. But hopefully we find out that punk-ass bitch's name very soon.
We're learning more tonight about a San Diego woman shot and killed Wednesday when, according to authorities, pro-Trump rioters breached the U.S. Capitol building. Capitol Police publicly identified Ashley Babbitt as the woman who was killed. And Babbitt's husband, Aaron, told our sister station his wife was a San Diego native and spent 14 years in the military between the Air Force and the D.C. National Guard. Babbitt said his wife went to Washington, D.C. to take part in Wednesday's protest where she met up with friends. He said he sent her a status check text message about 30 minutes before the shooting and never heard back.
She didn't have any weapons on her, and I don't know why she had to die in the people's house. That's our house. It's everybody's house. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. I don't know why she had to die inside the house. I saw the pictures. I had to see the pictures of my wife dying on the news.
Well, the chief of the Metropolitan Police Department said in a news conference today the woman was shot by one Capitol Police officer with a service weapon after protesters breached the fencing.
She loved her country, and she was doing what she thought was right to support her country and joining up with people, like-minded people that also love their president and their country. And, she was voicing her opinion, and she got killed for it.
Babbitt was transported to a local hospital where she later died. The officer was placed on administrative leave in accordance with police policy. Police also say 3 others died during medical emergencies.
All right, so I have one video left. It's again about the Washington, D.C. Being filled with National Guard, reservists, and the military police in order to protect evildoers. Again, it's not to protect you. Don't forget, this isn't to protect you. It's not to protect democracy. It's to protect these evil people that are going to chip away at your freedom. And they're going to chip away at your freedom for all of us to see. And as they do it, remember, they have the National Guard in place. Think about it. They're going to, we have to shut down this on social media. We have to shut down that freedom of speech and this freedom. Think about it. They put the National Guard in place, and then they start taking away our freedoms. Okay? Who's the real threat here? Because I don't think it's the working class common man. Unless you're some elite cunt. If you're some elite cunt, Donald Trump or Nancy Pelosi, then the working class is a horrible threat to you because you don't do their business. You don't care about them. You've taken a position of power in order for you to, fulfill your life, not to like protect people. This is what they're supposed to be doing. Is they're supposed to be protecting us, fighting for us, and they just don't do it. So, I can't understand how on earth all these lawmakers can put all the blame on Donald Trump, right? Like all the Republicans, all the Democrats put all the blame for people, occupying the people's house, taking back the people's house, protesting the people inside the people's house, claiming to do the people's business, claiming to be representatives. I don't see how those people for 1 second can think they have zero responsibility, right? Because they want to act to us publicly like they have zero responsibility. But I know that, I just can't imagine that they're that delusional to think, it's all Donald. If it wasn't for Donald Trump, the people would never attack the people's house in America, in the land of the free. Are you sure about that? Because I'm not. All right, one more video. If you want to call, now's the time. It's 805-669-6397. One more video, and I'm out of here. So call now if you feel like calling. Otherwise, I'll be right back.
Great to have you with us here on this Thursday night, and we begin with news just coming in tonight. What we have just heard from FBI Director Christopher Wray, with just days now until Joe Biden is sworn in as our next president. The FBI also issuing a new bulletin warning authorities in the nation's capital and in the capital cities of all 50 states to prepare for a possible showdown against violent extremists attempting to take on law enforcement. They warn of loss of life, of property damage, of disruption of government that could overwhelm law enforcement and emergency response. Authorities warning of the very real potential of new attacks following the deadly riots at the Capitol. Tonight, the intelligence they're now picking up. And the new images tonight, up to 21,000 National Guard members are being deployed to Washington. They will take up positions around the White House, the Capitol building, the Supreme Court, more troops than in Iraq and Afghanistan combined. Authorities closing the Capitol complex and possibly closing the entire National Mall on Inauguration Day. And there's news tonight about the nationwide manhunt for rioters. Federal prosecutors charging the suspect seen beating an officer with a pole holding the American flag. A retired firefighter now under arrest tonight, accused of throwing a fire extinguisher at police. The rioters seen walking the halls of the Capitol carrying a Confederate flag, now arrested. And new questions tonight about why there were tours of the Capitol the day before the riots, when lawmakers say they understood that those tours had been halted last spring because of the pandemic. Many lawmakers calling those tours the day before the attack suspicious. Here's our Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas tonight, leading us off.
Tonight, a new intelligence assessment raising the specter of continued insurrection next week. The new FBI bulletin urges authorities in D.C. and all 50 state capitals to prepare for a fight or face the prospect that violent offenders could, quote, overwhelm local, state, and federal law enforcement. 6 days until the inauguration, and with an expected 21,000 National Guard available, there are now more troops in Washington, D.C. than U.S. military in Afghanistan and Iraq combined. Razor wire, blocked streets, a city fortifying itself. Officials shutting down the entire Capitol complex and floating the possibility of keeping everyone off the National Mall.
The National Mall normally would be filled with hundreds of thousands of people who come to watch the inauguration. Shutting it down would be unprecedented, but it shows you just how concerned officials are.
All this because the FBI believes that last week's assault emboldened right-wing radicals to return and pursue more violence.
Anybody who plots or attempts violence in the coming week should count on a visit.
Sources telling ABC News different groups from around the country appear to be coordinating. Overnight, FBI Director Wray briefing chiefs in major cities, telling them to be on the lookout for potential lone wolf actors that could blend in with more peaceful protesters.
When you have people come down to peacefully protest and get a large crowd and some bad actors infiltrate that can turn a peaceful crowd into what we've seen in the past.
At the same time, they're pursuing rioters by the dozen. Suspects like Kevin Seafried. Authorities say he's seen here carrying the Confederate flag. Arrested in Delaware this morning along with his son. Robert Sanford, allegedly the man seen here hitting several police in the head with a fire extinguisher. He's a retired firefighter from Pennsylvania, turned in by a longtime friend who recognized him in the FBI photos. Christine Priola, a former occupational therapist for Cleveland schools, allegedly seen here in the Senate chamber. And Jenny Cudd, in a since-deleted Facebook video posted after the riot. Authorities say she admitted to breaking into the Capitol.
We did break down the Nancy Pelosi's office door.
And tonight, more than 30 members of Congress are calling for an investigation, calling it suspicious that an extremely high number of outside groups in the complex on January 5th, the day before the riots, which is unusual given that public tours of the Capitol ended in March 2020 due to the coronavirus pandemic, and claiming that some of the visitors appear to be associated with the rally that preceded the riot.
So let's get right back to Pierre Thomas back with us tonight. And Pierre, you reported last night here that President-elect Joe Biden and his team had been briefed on the threats. Now, less than a week from the inauguration, we know all this is fluid, obviously very concerning. Where do the plans stand tonight?
David, they're really trying to hold the inauguration outside as is tradition. But, David, the threat situation is so intense right now. So intense, Biden doesn't plan to take his beloved Amtrak train to the inauguration. And the FBI has identified 200 suspects tied to that mob assault. Just an incredible number, and that number could rise, David.
Pierre Thomas with us again tonight. Pierre, thank you.
Wait, is that my booger? Booger! Booger! Mr. Booga! Mr. Booga! Okay, so let's see. I have, that's all my videos. That one I just played, that was from last night. We didn't get around to it last night. But I thought I should go ahead and play it for you anyways, because again, it shows the police state. It shows who it is that's the real threat to freedom, who it is that's cracking down on your freedoms, who it is that's chipping away at your freedoms. And it's not Iran, and it's not China. Okay, so that we're clear. And it's not the good people of the United States. It's not the working class people that are chipping away at your freedoms. Okay? It's the evildoers in Washington, D.C. And remember, when you see all these people deployed in the streets, all this military deployed in the streets of Washington, D.C. for the next few days, you remember, they're not there protecting the people. They're not there protecting our rights, fighting for, the United States security. They're there protecting evildoers that are doing evil in the name of good Americans, in the name of America. And it's no wonder that, people want to stand up against that. Okay? And again, just don't forget this military. I don't have anything against the military. The upper echelons in the Pentagon, I'd really like to see go to prison. But, you know, again, the people, we the people, you know, the veterans that go in and serve to try and do the right thing. I don't have any problem with any of those people. I can't stand this disgusting elitist at the top who use these military personnel as if it's their own personal security. How disgusting is this? Again, I've never seen America look more like a police state than it does today. It's on display for the entire world. So when you hear him talking about, you know, how other countries are laughing at us. Well, yeah, you call yourself the land of the free and then you deploy the military in your streets. You know, yeah, that's pretty fucking hilarious, isn't it? Okay, these people at the top are sick, are mentally ill, and must be replaced. And again, we really need to make examples out of them. Every single one of them that has made a single penny of profit for voting to keep a war going, and then they made profit from that. That person needs to go to prison. It's one thing to make a profit off of an investment that you see as, you know, oh, well, this looks like a good investment. It's another thing to vote to keep a war going. And then because you know it's going to make you money. Lots of money. That's disgusting. And those people should be made examples of. I'm talking about you, Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney. You should go to prison forever in order to make the world a safer place for little children. And that's all there is to it. And if you can't understand that, you know, there's very little hope for all of us anyways. So what's the point? Anyways, thanks so much for tuning in. We do this every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which means we'll be back on Monday. Same Mox time, same Mox channel. Until then, stay cool, because one of these days this war is going to end. It's gonna. That is clear to me today. That's what the people want. Fuck the House. Fuck the Senate. Fuck the Congress. Who cares what they want? Fuck the corporations that want to profit off of fucking war. It's disgusting. Okay, those people need to be made examples of, go to prison forever to make the world a safer place for little children. And there's only so long until that happens. No, it's true. Talking to you, babies. See you soon. See you Monday. Bye-bye.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.